Emyrald Sinclair is a love and manifestation coach who helps her clients to connect with the true desires of their heart, offers them the encourage and accountability to follow through and take action on their dreams, and gives them practical tools in order to manifest the love of their lives and the life of their dreams. You can find her traveling the world, sharing her wisdom all on her podcast, Manifest It All, and creating her real life magic along the way. Hi, love. This one's for you. I'm Jess, and this is the Effortless Expansion Podcast. This podcast is for women who are ready to do it differently. Women who are tired of being tired. Women who are ready to shift out of the old ways and rules that are still lingering from generations and generations of doing it a certain way. Together, we are going to expand your life in every way. Effortless expansion of yourself, your relationships, your health, your wealth. Write your own rules, your own way, for you. Here on this podcast, you will redefine the way you show up for yourself and your desires. You will create visions for this limitless life and what it gets to look like for yourself and your family. You will reshape the way you show up for your friendships, children, and your spouse every week. Together, we will reinvent how your limitless life looks and feels in less than 20 minutes. I'm so glad you've chosen to be here with me. You ready? Let's do this. Hello, and welcome back to the Effortless Expansion Podcast. I am so excited to introduce you guys to my friend, my sweet friend, and the love coach. Emyrald is on with me today, and today's going to be a really great, juicy episode. So Emyrald, please say hi, introduce yourself.
Well, hello, Jess. Thank you so much for having me here. And as a love coach, I teach conscious women how to manifest love. And what this typically means are women that are way too much in their masculine energy. And I'm sure you can relate to this as a successful breadwinning woman yourself. So it's helping to bring that balance back into relationship between men and women and to empower women to really be more of themselves. Because what I have seen is just women are too much in the masculine, the wounded masculine. They don't trust themselves. They don't trust the universe. They don't trust men. And it's like, well, no wonder you're single, silly. We got to clean some of these things up.
Yes, so good. With that introduction, so many things I want to talk to you about. So tell me first off, and Emyrald and I, prior to this recording, we just did an Instagram live. So you can go to our Instagrams and check that out. Effortlessly Jess, of course, for me. And Emyrald, tell us your Instagram.
It's Manifest with Emyrald.
Manifest with Emyrald. And check out the live. So we had a really great warm up. And so I want to just dive in. Tell me some really big, yes. Yeah. I was trying to find a better word, but that's it. So
it's really what it is. Yeah.
Yes.
And these lies prevent women. So two of them popped into my head. I'll start with the first one and then we'll go into the Disney one, which you and I were talking about on the Instagram. The first one is it will happen when it's meant to happen. I'm sure you've heard that of I met my partner and I wasn't expecting it. He or she just showed up out of nowhere. It'll happen when you least expect it. And I need to call a big old BS on that because the reality is it will happen when you're ready for it. It will happen when you have prepared for it. Do you lose 10 pounds when you least expect it? Do you get a promotion when you least expect it? No, you make a plan and you take action. And it's the same thing with the type of love that I teach my clients. Could you go out to the bar and meet someone and get married? Sure. But if you're looking for this high level, conscious, happily ever after type of relationship, I don't know about you, but that sure wasn't modeled to me by my parents, which means I had to learn how to do it. And I would say 99% of people were raised in quote unquote toxic families and relationships. And that's not a bad thing, but it's just your love life is not going to just accidentally be amazing. If you want an incredible love life, you have to work at it. And so I'm really passionate about breaking that paradigm of it'll happen when it's meant to happen. That's the worst lie ever. It's Jess, you're going to have $1 million business when it's meant to happen. It's no, you need to set up the foundation, the structure, the income. You need to prepare the container to have that. And so I'm going to say the same thing with relationship. And once again, I teach exceptional relationships, not just oh, you met someone in a bar when you were 21, got knocked up and married, like, congratulations. I'm not saying that's a bad or wrong thing, but I'm saying if you want this high level of relationship, it's not going to accidentally happen when it's meant to happen.
Yes. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Do you know how many times I've heard that? And honestly, do you know how many times I've said that?
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's the thing though,
Goodness.
Jess, because when we're talking about universe and manifestation, true, we don't get to control the when, the
Yes.
how, the with who, but we need to prepare for it. Like, we need to make ourselves an energetic match for it, to believe in it, to expect it. So true, it will happen when you've prepared and made yourself a vibrational match for it.
Yes. I was referring to so my sister got married in December and it was amazing, to this incredible man. But I've been married for 12 years, it'll be 12 years later this fall. And there's this, I wanted her so badly to get married, and it'll happen when it happens, but also, like, can you hurry up? I want you, like, I want you to be as happy as I am. Like, I want you to have children, all these things. So you're just like, whew, bringing it back for me, all these conversations that her and I had. Okay. So tell us what other lies, what other misconceptions are we sold as women?
Well, the old Disney movie BS has created such lies and expectations in women. And I know I shared this on Instagram, but I had a client once that her idea, and I kid you not, I'm not making this up, she thought that when you fell in love, it meant then your partner could read your mind. Like, they would just know by looking at you. I was like, no, like, your partner's not a mind reader. You need to understand first yourself and your own needs and desires and triggers and insecurities. And then you need to learn how to communicate that in a healthy way. And you need to learn how to not be defensive or aggressive or angry or whatever it is. And, like, a relationship is two people learning each other. Like, there might be that initial attraction in the beginning, but love is something that is created. And so rom-coms, Disney movies have created so many mistruths around what love is. And then furthermore, a lot of them didn't show, like, what's after the attraction, what's after the wedding. Like, that's really where the work begins. And you've been married 12 years. So, I mean, you can speak on that better than I can. Like, in partnership is a lot of work. When you're single, dare I say, it's so easy. You get to do whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want. You do not have the mirror put up on you every single day of who you are being.
Yeah. Yes. And I think I shared this on Instagram, but that was such a misconception for me when I really stepped into being a woman and looking at, desiring a relationship. Was I expected it to be this Disney fairy tale. And I expected to be swept off my feet, and I expected to be, well taken care of, and this, like, everything is perfect relationship. And very quickly, in my young adult life, I realized, okay, this is not happening.
It's not matching.
What's going on here? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with these men, right, that I'm dating?
Yeah.
And then this, like, my eyes were open very quickly. Like, this is not real life. Actually, this is in the movies. I love romantic movies, love romance books, all the things, right? Just, like, love that. And my husband, I get a lot of that in my marriage, that lights me up. But there is also this piece that Disney doesn't tell you, right? The movie ends when they get together and they're married, and then, it ends and it says in the beautiful scroll words, and they live happily ever after. I'm like, yeah, they do, but it's a lot of freaking work too, how about that part?
Yeah. And they forget. And I mean, I guess we could call that even the third lie, is the happily ever after, that relationships are work. And I think it was Tony Robbins who said, if you're not growing, you're dying. And
totally.
That's true, right? It's like, if you stop working out in the gym, your muscles don't maintain their muscle mass. They start to decrease. And so a healthy lifelong relationship, because, okay, but Emyrald, what about so-and-so that met their partner in high school or college and they've been together happily their entire life? Okay, cool. That does happen for some people, but I promise you, they didn't magically stay together their whole lives happy without working on their relationship, because this is just stuff we need to cultivate and work on. Who you are today is different 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. We grow and evolve. Like the 15-year-old is different from the 25-year-old, different from the 35-year-old. And so if you have this belief system that once you get in a relationship, it's done, like, no, like it has to be continual growth and evolution, or else the relationship will fail.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to just be big enough to say, for me at least, I desire this, like, this next level relationship, this next level marriage at every iteration that I am, at every iteration that we are. And so what that means is there's always another level. And somewhere along the line, and I also believe, this is another lie we could go into further, is, we're sold this, again, I guess it ties back to the Disney movie too, is you're sold this, you're going to be happily ever after. And that's it, period. And when I think about that, even in my own marriage, how boring would that be? Seriously. So it's the same old every day, right? There's never any, I don't know, how I used to see it would be, there's never really any interaction or deep conversations or hard conversations or big decisions, right? It's all just like, it's the same old every day. And I thrive, and we do as humans, right? To change, to shake it up, to do it differently, to, expand in all the ways. And so somewhere along the line, I think we were taught to, especially in America, I would say, to not get uncomfortable, right? Which uncomfortable is expanding. It's doing new things. It's having hard conversations. It's having the disagreements. It's working on your own shit and then working on working on it together. And so I'm so grateful that, I'm here with this conscious mind, and that I've chosen this growth and evolution over a lifetime, to quote Melanie and Lair, is really makes it fun and exciting, because I'm somebody, we all are, whether we want to admit it or not, want different.
Well, and I want to piggyback on that, because it's a really beautiful reminder of not just in relationship, but if you got everything you wanted right now, and let's equate that with happily ever after, right? Like you just always got everything you wanted, or you just got it all right now. So if you got it all right now, then what would there be to look forward to?
Exactly.
Nothing. Or if you got it all right now, then what would pull you forward? Because desire, as you were saying, pulls you forward. It's like you get an amazing relationship with your partner, but then guess what? In a couple months, couple years, you want more sex, more intimacy, more connection. Like what was good for you at 30 or 25, whatever, when you're 40 or 45, you're a different person. You actually need different things in your relationship.
Totally.
Or it's like, here's an example. If you think about something you really, 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 really wanted, maybe as a kid, like a toy for Christmas, and then after you got it, within a couple of weeks, if you're lucky, you're just like, whatever.
Yep.
But that's not bad. Like this is who we are. And so the lie of happily ever after, nothing could be further from the truth. You would not be satisfied with happily ever after. It would be dull. It would be lifeless. It's like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day. And mind you, that's a different example, but if every day was the same, happily ever after, you would get so bored with that. It's like, we need the growth, we need the expansion, we need the challenges to grow. It's what makes life worth living.
Yes, absolutely. And I think there's this, in the raising the consciousness of the planet, there are more of us that are like, yeah, I do desire different. Like I don't want the same thing every day. How boring that is, right? It's more exciting and fun for it to be different and to expand and to, see the world through a different lens than we've seen it through for some of us many, many, many years. And I think this is such an important piece for when I talk about my brand, is like shaking it up and doing it differently and becoming unruly and all the things. We do ourselves such a disservice when we keep ourselves in such a routine. We get up at a certain time, we go work out, we go to work, we take the same route to work, we stop at the same coffee shop, we have the same fights with our husband, we have the same conversations with our kids, the same numbers in our bank, the same money in our bank account, all these things. It's like, whoa, your soul is just begging you to shake it up and like do it differently and become conscious again. And I think as more of us come into our conscious mind and decide to choose differently and really lean into what's available to us and lean into our desires, the world opens up. And of course, love is a big part of that, including the love that we have for ourselves. Your expansion journey in whole is really loving. It starts with yourself, right? Loving yourself first. And then only then can you really love, right, others to the full extent that you're able.
Well, and only can you receive love from others
Yes.
to that extent,
Yes.
right? Like if you don't believe you're good enough or lovable or worthy, I could sit here and tell you till I'm blue in the face how beautiful and lovable you and worthy you are, Jess. But if you don't believe it, you won't receive it. And so we
So
have to
good.
work on our receptivity. And if we're talking manifestation, like I believe the divine is the source of love. You ask, it's given, says Abraham Hicks. And the only thing blocking you from receiving is your belief that you're not worthy, which is why the self-love piece is so important, not only for manifesting love, but anything in your life.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, what did you do when you were on the journey working on the self-love and not just for your husband, but manifesting? Like, what are some of your tools? I know I'm your guest, but I want to know what you've done.
Okay. Well, thank you for asking me.
Yeah.
Getting quiet. I'm a mother hustler. Like I can hustle till the cows come home.
Do you know your sign, your Enneagram and your sign?
I'm a 3.
You're 3. That makes sense. The achiever.
Yep. So, and I really thrive on achievement. When I look at my corporate career, all the recognition I got, how quickly I moved up and, all the money I made and all the things, I was like, yeah, I liked that a lot. And then I left my corporate job and I had an MLM business that was really successful and I rose through the ranks really, really quickly. Again, tons of recognition. And then my soul started speaking to me and I'm like, okay, all right, I'm going to do something different. It feels scary. And it's the quiet time for me. That's really the self-care time for me. It's the honoring my energy. I have a 2 in my human design profile, which that's the hermit. And so I like to go and go and go and go. And I'm an overachiever, but what that does is it burns me out, gets me sick when I don't take care of my energy first. And so it's this sitting in the quiet for me is number one. And it's, I'm a mom with 2 young kids. It's putting me first. And that was such an adjustment. But, the reality is I have big, bold, brave desires, and I have to put me first to set an example for my children, to be the best mom, to be the best wife, to be the best coach to serve my clients, right? To be the best woman in the world to help, raise the consciousness of the planet, to be a good human. I have to put myself first. And that's really, really in its most simple terms is me first, whether that be sitting in the quiet, whether it be getting a massage or a facial or spending 2 hours, by myself in my room, just like, meditating or whatever. It's me first. That's my number one self-care.
I'll piggyback on that because
all right.
It truly is. You have to know yourself. You have to be with yourself. It's the most important time you could give. And I find that I feel my worst when I'm distracted and not giving myself enough me time. Like recently, so I don't really usually ever have a TV. I don't usually have Netflix. I've been traveling the world. And so my last apartment and this apartment had a TV and it had Netflix. And I saw myself getting caught in the Netflix at night when normally my nighttime routine would be something like have a bath, read a book, listen to music, journal, candles. But I was bright, shiny object, distracted by the bright, shiny TV. And I'm like, Netflix, wow, I got the movies and TV. Anywho, I got distracted and I really started to feel the difference in my body. And so now that I've come back to the me time, the bath, the journaling, the meditation, the candle gazing is one of my favorite things. Like it's an eyes open meditation where I just let my brain decompress for the day. Is a really important practice of self-love, because if you're not your own best friend, then what do you have? I mean, at the end of the day, even if you're in a partnership or not, you're the person that you will walk the rest of your life with, guaranteed.
Yep.
So what are you doing to connect with yourself every day? Which means we need to turn off the distractions, the scrolling, the electronic boxes and portals into the rest of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wholeheartedly believe, you just said that, like, who are you? Even if you're in a partnership, right? You have the rest of your life, you're going to be with yourself. And, I wholeheartedly believe that
anytime I put anybody, anytime, this was another belief. I believed, my husband, Nick, should always put me first. And now I wholeheartedly believe I should come, after him, because when you choose somebody else before yourself, you're self-sacrificing, right? You're putting their needs before yours, and you have to serve yourself first before you can serve anybody else.
Yeah.
Again, we can use the empty cup analogy or whatever you choose, but like, it's me first. And when I'm first, then I can also love you to the fullest capacity that I'm able to.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and there was a poem once that I read about how it's so important that we meet our own needs. And if
Mhm.
there's ever a conflict of needs between two people, then we'll do our best to resolve the conflict, but not
Mm.
at the expense of one or the other, not you win, I lose. It's like
Yeah.
we have to find the win-win, but not
Mhm.
again at the sacrifice of your needs or my needs. And this is a
Mhm.
whole new evolution of
Mhm.
interdependence in partnership,
Yeah.
not independence, not codependency, but interdependence, which means I need to be able to understand my own needs and meet them myself before
Mhm.
being in partnership. And then in partnership, of course, to help meet each other's needs, but not by sacrificing your own. And that's not to be confused with compromise that is
Right.
present in partnership, but truly your needs and your values. And so the better you understand yourself while single and doing this work, the better partner you will be because you have a
Mhm.
strong sense of self.
Mhm. So good. So Emma, will you tell us what's going on in your world right now, what programs you're offering, and then walk us through, the transformation that women can experience when they're in your world, when they're working with you.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful questions. Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
So right now I'm working on something behind the scenes that's going to be an all access pass to all of my courses and programs, which is
Ooh,
just wild and exciting. So I can't say too much
sounds like
more
it.
on that, except for just stay in touch on Instagram and you'll find out more information about that when it's released. I have a 21-day mini manifestation mastermind, like an accelerator coming up. I'm not sure when this podcast episode goes live, if that will have already happened, but mainly I'm just working on the all access pass, and
Mhm.
I'm lovingly, excitedly opening up my practice again for new private clients. Last year, I was focusing a lot on travel. These last couple months have been sort of pulling back, working behind the scenes. I
Mm.
actually just enrolled in a year-long coaching certification program to deepen my skills. I mean, as you know, as a coach, we can
Mhm.
only support our clients to the level that we do the work. And so
Mm.
it's continual growth and expansion, right? Like we're always
Yes.
doing the work. So it's like, I've
Yes.
got that going on. But to answer your question around what a client can expect, I mean, my bread and butter is my 6-month magnetic femme program,
Mhm.
which is teaching a woman how to be magnetic to her
Mhm.
desires, not only in relationship, but in life. But
Mhm.
99.9% of my clients come to me for love. And of course, we
Mhm.
work on other things. And so it really is this journey through the manifesting formula, the different pillars that I teach, which is the first aspect being love.
Mm.
And every client I've worked with will say, and you might see this with your clients, like, yeah, I love myself, but they have a different idea of love than the one that I teach and believe in, which is love means you truly believe that you're worthy of having what
Mm.
you want. You believe in yourself. You believe
Mm.
it's available and possible. You're not telling yourself these stories. And so love is communication. Love is
Mhm.
boundaries. Love is self-care, which is what a
Yeah.
lot of people confuse for love. And
Mhm.
so within a couple of months, they really learn what that means, which is going to be
Mhm.
like blocking the ex and no longer hanging out with the F boys, no longer
Mhm.
settling for dates just because you're bored. Like he's good
Mhm.
enough, but he's not the one, right? Like
Mhm.
you're really standing up for yourself and believing in yourself that you can have that. And so we're cleaning up all those areas in your life that intuitively you know you need to let go of, but perhaps you haven't had the strength, the support, or the
Mm.
accountability to let them
Mhm.
go. And I mean, I have clients quit smoking, quit drinking, clean up their eating, clean up their sleeping, their exercise, their journaling
Mhm.
practices, like all of this, because it's all reflections of
Yes.
self-love,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So that's a big part of it. And
Mhm.
then the second part of the program is you've got to trust the universe. You have to have that faith and belief. So you become the woman who believes oh yeah, that partner is out there. I exist and I'm exceptional, which means he or she exists and they're
Yes.
out there and like they're in my
Yes.
town and I could meet them. Or like one of my past clients, he was in Spain, but they met online and she was in Oklahoma and it progressed so beautifully and so naturally. And
Mm,
so you start to open your mind to unlimited possibilities. You're no
mhm.
longer in a lack mindset and you're like, you know what? He or she might not be in my town, or maybe they're just not here yet. And I think
Yet.
about a past client that she's like, he wasn't in my town yet. I had to get ready for him. And so
Mhm.
you become the woman that really believes that it's possible
Mhm.
for her, that no longer believes the lack stories about dating and online dating that her girlfriends tell her. And then the last piece that is so transformational, and I'm sure you do this with your clients as well, is the inspired action. Like, what
Mm,
is my intuition telling me? What's my higher self telling me? What's my path? And I think of at least 3 clients. They didn't do online dating for the first 4 months we were working together. And then they started to get this pull. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And they met their partner, their husband, their person on their second online date. So
wow.
the action was the same they had done before, but when they felt inspired to do it after the first couple of months of doing the internal work, it
Right.
yielded a completely different result.
Result.
And
Yeah.
so all of it matters, but it's all in the right timing. Like the action
Mhm.
won't matter if you haven't changed the internal.
Right. Yes. Yes.
And
Oh,
then as a result, you end up dating exceptional, high quality human beings that are a match for who you are. And with a lot of my clients, they end up being their long-term person. And sometimes I'll be honest with you, sometimes it's just the next step. It's the stepping stone. It's like I needed to learn from that
yes.
person. And so
Yes.
I want to say that as well. We need to also break the lie that one person forever equals a successful relationship,
Yes.
because if you're happy, that's what matters. So don't be attached
Totally.
to, I need to be with one person forever, because
Mhm.
that might actually not be the best, highest path for you.
Mhm. Mm. That's very, very, very good. And we could talk so much longer about just that lie that we've been told and sold and the paradigm
Yeah.
that, is around all of that. But we'll save that for another time, Emerald.
Ooh, a part two.
A
Yeah, because
part two. Yes, a
think
part
about
two.
how
Yes.
many people stay in unhealthy, toxic relationships because
Mm,
they believe the lie that, well, I have to
yes.
stay because that's what it means to be in a
Right.
relationship. You can't get divorced, like you make it
Right.
work.
Right.
Ooh,
Yeah.
bad.
Oof. Yeah. Ugh. Very good. Very good. All right. Well, while we're wrapping up, Emerald, please tell all my listeners here where they can find you online and
Yes.
watch all your things and all your
Yes.
gorgeous tips that you give away. And you are you serve so well. It's just such an honor to watch you and to be your
Thank
friend
you.
and to witness you in your magic.
Think Enneagram 2, the helper, wing 3, the achiever. So it makes sense. And the Sagittarius, like the quest for higher
Oh,
knowledge
yes,
and truth, the
yes.
teacher, the inspirator. Okay.
Yeah.
So Instagram is a big one. And I think that's where we first connected before we were in the mastermind together, right? On
Yes.
Instagram. Yep.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
Instagram at Manifest with Emerald. I love my gram. My podcast, Manifest It All, which you will be on, which I'm really excited to bring your juicy wisdom onto the pod. I have a Facebook group called Becoming the Empress. I just recently restarted it. The old one was old energy. So I wanted to start again with fresh energy this year. My website, emeraldsinclair.com. I even have YouTube presence. But if I'm honest with you all, I would say the Instagram and the pod are my 2 big passion projects that I get devote most of the energy to. And so those would be my suggestions as far as if someone wanted to hang out.
Okay, great. All right. Well, y'all be sure to look Emerald up because she is just a genius in her magic and such a gift and light to the world. So, Emerald, I just want to thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else you want to say before we leave it here?
There's always so much I want to say, but what comes through is truly the importance of listening to your heart,
Mm,
because nobody else is in your body. Nobody
mhm,
else is feeling your feelings. Your soul came here for a reason to
mhm.
manifest its higher purpose, its calling. And so it's time for us all, a reclamation of sovereignty, to stand in our power, stand in our truth, listen to ourselves, and put the desires of our hearts above the desires of anybody else. And even those that are parents, like, I think it's important to teach your children to feel for themselves and think for themselves, and not be a good girl and be a good boy and listen to mommy. And mind you, that's a topic for another conversation. But the bigger message I wanted to say is truly, like, listen to your heart. Like, your heart knows what's best for you. You have the answers that are inside of you, but you won't hear them if you don't listen. So this is your permission slip. Listen to yourself and cultivate the courage to take action based on what you hear.
Thank you for that. That was gorgeous and such a great reflection. So I'm just so thankful for all of this wisdom that you poured into us today. So grateful to have you on, Emyrald. Thank you for the time today. And y'all, I will see you in the next episode. To your effortless expansion always, in all ways. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, if you love this podcast episode, can you please do me 2 quick favors? 1, take a screenshot of the podcast episode you're listening to right now, post it on your stories, and tag me at EffortlesslyJess. I'm going to be so thrilled to hear from you, and I will always repost it for my audience to see. 2nd, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, can you please leave me a 5-star review? These 2 little things take only a few minutes, but they mean so much to me. Not only does it make my day to connect with my soul sisters on the internet, but as a podcast host, these are 2 things you can do to help me get my message out to impact the women of the world. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to talk to you in next week's episode. To your effortless expansion always.